Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It's April 24th. These are your headlines. Seen a lot more movement on striped bass this week. You've been hearing about some fish moving into Massachusetts. Togging has been picking up in Connecticut and Rhode Island. And for the freshwater guys, the largemouth bass fishing has once again been exceptional. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
No guessing, just catching. New Explore Series fish finders keep you locked on fish with unbeatable clarity, best-in-class imaging options, and a stunning ultra-bright HD screen. There's more to explore, only with Humminbird.
Before we begin, we've got a couple of news items for you guys. The first one I want to talk about is the May edition of the Fisherman magazine, which just came out this week. It's loaded with a lot of awesome stuff. In the glossy section, you've got the Kayak Buyer's Guide, which covers all the major brands, everything that's new coming out from them in fishing kayaks. You've got No Bunker Bass, and written by me. That's all about going out there when there's a lot of bunker around and catching good striped bass on artificials, whether you can't get bunker, whether you don't want to deal with bunker, or you just feel like trying something new. This covers all the little tactics and tricks that you can use, all the different ways you can get them from different parts of the water column. So it's a pretty cool story. I really enjoyed writing that one. We got a thing on sharpening knives, which is going to come in handy as we go into especially as we go into the offshore season. We got a surf casting story, which is a good one. We've got a little bit about our stripe request tagging thing. And when we move over into the local section, we've got some soft plastic topwater tactics you can use for striped bass. We've got some shallow water fluke advice from none other than Jeff Sullivan, one of the best anglers I know. The Coastal Kayak Clash returns. I've got a story about that. We've got some sand eel suggestions for out in the western Long Island Sound. And also a way to extend your daytime togging into the night with some togging and squidding day-night doubleheader. That one's centered around Narragansett Bay. Great addition. You should definitely check that out. The other thing is we've got a kids fishing day being put on by the Goose Hammock Shop this weekend at Flax Pond. That's going to be on Saturday. It's going to start up around 8 a.m., probably go until noon or 1 o'clock. They're going to give away a rod and reel to the first 100, I think, kids that show up there. So that's phenomenal, and some incentive to get the little guys out there, go catch some fish. And it's going to be rain or shine. It looks like we might have a little weather coming in, so you're going to want to dress accordingly. I will be there. I'll be there with my counterpart, Mike Hatchie. We're going to be helping out. We're also going to be giving digital subscriptions to any kid that would like to read the magazine. We're going to bring a bunch of new editions with us so you guys can so that they can read through those and mom and dad can check them out as well. And it's going to be a great time. It's it's at Flax Pond, which is inside of Nickerson State Park. It's going to be from like 8 to 12, 8 to 1. And if you need more details, give the Goose a call and they can fill you in on the rest of it. Last thing, of course, is the giveaway, which is ongoing. We're seeing a lot more photos coming in at a much steadier clip now. Seeing some cool angles, some cool photos. Definitely some guys making a play for this surf howdy that we're going to be giving away, and the Dexter fillet knife as well. If you guys don't know the drill, it's quite simple. You got to take a picture of you holding your fish or a friend holding a fish, and it's, it can't be laying on the rocks or something like that or on the deck of the boat. It's got to be the guy holding the fish, and you want to try to exemplify the feeling of New England fishing. So you want to capture the scene, you want to capture the fish, you want to compose your photo. Send it in to me at danderson@thefisherman.com or text them to the number on the screen, along with the pertinent details like where the fish was caught, who the angler was, how big it was, things along those lines. Send them in, and you might win something cool. We'll also get you guys into the report and probably get you in the magazine as well. So send them in, and we'll see who wins. Moving over to the reports now, I didn't really hear much from the North Country there, so we're going to start off in Massachusetts with Kevin Huang from Surfland Bait and Tackle.
What's up, guys? Kevin from Surfland Bait and Tackle checking in with the weekly report. Oof, haddock fishing. From what I heard, a lot of the guys have been real spotty, because depending on the head boat that you're on, they're trying to locate them right now. But Eastman's, I heard, did pretty well. And oof, all my shad fans, where you at? The first shad of the year has been caught. And the shad are running now, and then attached will be a picture right here of the first one that got caught that's been on record. And then the herrings loaded down in the Parkers, loaded with herring now. Trout fishing's been awesome. The smallie bite is getting turned on in the Merrimack also, because that water temperature reached that perfect temperature. Here is a smallmouth right here caught earlier this week in the Merrimack. And see this guy right here, striped bass, they're coming. Usually once everything shows up, I say, you know, the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll start hearing about striped bass getting caught. And then next thing you know, the big girls will be here. And we're all waiting for that. We're ready to go. I'll see you guys next week.
Now we'll drop down into Boston area and we'll check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in with this week's report. Last night I was down in the Chelsea area doing some casting, trying to see if I could get my first official schoolie. No such luck. There is some action going out. You know, there's stripers in that area. They're just few and far between. One of these reports I'll be checking in with my first official. And till then, I'll keep on trying. The smallie bite in that Merrimack River, Haverhill area is still red hot. Every time I go there, I'm you know, getting 10 plus 15 fish, all good size smallies. There is some carp, big carp in that area, but I really don't target them. I kind of just get there, show up for 20 minutes, try to get some smallies and make my way out. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.
And while we're in Boston, I'm just going to highlight one catch that I got through email this week from a semi-regular contributor to the report. Brian Bernadou caught this giant pickerel on a swim bait in Starro Lagoon, which is right in the heart of Boston. Brian is always sending in photos from the heart of Boston. He proves it just about every day, it seems like, that really nice fish can be caught right in the center of Boston. He and I are trying to work out the details of an article that he's going to write all about that urban style of fishing, so you can look for that in a future edition of the Fisherman magazine. Heading west from there, I've been getting, checkered reports about the bass fishing in Central Mass. It's been pretty good. Trout fishing's been solid as well. The state's been doing a phenomenal job stocking. But the main thing that I've been hearing about is the Wachusett and Quabbin Reservoir smallmouth fishing, which has just been incredible. We've seen some really nice fish. I got this awesome photo from Joe Reardon showing almost a 6-pound smallie that he took out of Quabbin, and we've seen some fish, almost up to that size coming out of Wachusett as well, along with some nice lake trout. So the bite in the 2 big impoundments in the middle of Massachusetts have been firing off on all cylinders, and the bite has just been incredible. I can move west now, and we'll check in with Roy Leyva. Here he is.
Hey Dave, what's up? It's Roy here from Western Mass. I'm actually driving up to Weymouth to be the guest speaker at the Mass Striped Bass Association tonight. I'm sorry I can't look at the camera because I'm driving, but I'm going to tell you right now that the fishing in Western Mass is off the hook. I mean, it is about as good as it can get. You got Quabbin that's open, you got Wachusett that's open. The cooler temps have kept the water temps down, so everything that's like spring fishing wise, smallmouth, lakers, trout, all that stuff is just, it's about as peak as it can get. These next 2 weeks are going to be some of the best fishing that Western Mass has to offer. Besides that, we are on school vacation week, which means that they've been dumping some really nice trout, some really nice broods, and on top of that, they've done broods already before any of this has even happened. So the fishing right now in this part of the state is probably some of the best that I've seen in the last few years. If you've got the time, Western Mass for the next 2 weeks is probably going to be the best fishing for any species that you want to go target. All right, I will catch you guys next week. Peace.
heading down to the approaches to Cape Cod and getting onto the Cape. The big thing this week has been the largemouth bass fishing, which has just been incredible. Dan Southwick sent us a couple, I think he sent us 3 actually, photos of outsized largemouth. These fish are anywhere from 5 to 7 pounds. Biggest one was over 7. These fish were caught on Real Prey swim baits, which I'd love to hear that. These are made right here in New England. I believe they're made right over the border in New Hampshire, and they are phenomenal baits. I use them all the time myself. So the swim bait bite is alive and well. I'd have to guess that he's probably fishing around some herring runs to get those fish. And again, the Real Prey is a great bait to fish around the runs. And the other thing we're hearing about in that region is trout fishing, which has been really good. I was out on the Cape yesterday visiting some shops, including Sportsport, which is a really cool shop that you guys should definitely check out. Gives you that old Cape feel. You don't want to miss that one. That's out in Hyannis. But everyone we talked to was talking about the trout fishing and how great the trout fishing has been and how the state has been putting in some really big trout this year. And even over these last few days, some bigger brown trout have been being caught, so it kind of lends some credence to the idea that the state probably did their first round of broodstock brown stocking, so you're definitely going to want to keep your eyes on that, and should make things interesting for the kids fishing day on Saturday as well. So the trout fishing on the Cape has been excellent. On the striped bass end of things, there's not a whole lot going on the Cape just yet. There have been some small schoolies caught off of some of the outer beaches, which kind of blows my mind because that water's got to be super cold. But the consensus among all the people that I talked to is that those fish left an estuary and were just kind of moving along the coast somewhere. And the other thing too is that these fish were like micro schoolies. So it's just the very beginning of what should be a great striper season out there. Getting down into Nantucket Sound, we have not heard of any tog yet, and the same goes for Vineyard Sound, the Elizabeth. So that's we're still kind of holding our breath on that. The only tog I'm hearing about right now have been up around the canal, and while we're on the subject of the canal, let's check in with East End Eddie. Here he is.
Hi Dave, got a dropping west tide this morning on the Cape Cod Canal. No fish yet, the water temperatures are still in the 40s. We're all patiently waiting for that magic number of 55 degrees. Although there are some fish being caught on Martha's Vineyard, so hopefully that school will be here in the next couple of weeks. Right now there's not many fishermen around. There's more people holding dog leashes than fishing rods. But just a couple of announcements. Congratulations to Captain Jason Colby of Little Sister Charters. He was awarded the distinction of Skillful Skipper a few months ago by the Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries, and he was given that award actually for the second year in a row because he guided his clients to so many qualifying entries for the Massachusetts Saltwater Fishing Derby. So congratulations to Jason. He's a great charter captain, a great guy. The bad news is that the Army Corps of Engineers has announced that due to staffing shortages, they're going to have a reduction in some of their services. I know that they're only going to have 2 portable toilets on the whole canal, one on each side. It's going to be one at the Bourne Recreation area on the mainland side, and on the Cape side, they're going to have one at the Tidal Flats, also known as Bell Road. Everybody I know calls it Bell Road. So what does that mean? It means take a sip of water, don't take a long drink, unfortunately. So I don't know if those staffing shortages had to do with all the cutbacks coming out of Washington or not, but in any event, just make the best of it. So my tip of the week is just check all your equipment, make sure your gear's in proper working order, and keep your hook sharp. So until next time, just dream about catching a big one.
And then heading out to the western part of Buzzards Bay, guys have been out togging, but I have not heard of the first fish landed. So we're still kind of waiting for things to come up the temperature there, I guess. I talked to Jason Colby this morning. He said he's going to head out tomorrow. So we should have a little bit more of a detailed report from Buzzards Bay next week. So stay tuned for that. And that's what I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. Crossing the border into Rhode Island, let's start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecky.
Thanks, Dave. Hey guys, lots to talk about in the East Bay, and we're going to get right to it right away. Reports of striped bass are definitely here, and some of the spots you should be fishing and looking for some bass right now would be Jacobs Point in Warren, Colt State Park in Bristol. You got the Barrington and Warren bridges. You got the White Church Bridge in Barrington. All spots that would be ideal right now for early season bass. They might not be big, they might not be huge, but they're going to be bass. They're probably going to be schoolies, small. There are some reports of some real small bass up inside the upper bay. So I'm sure that those bass are moving into our little rivers and estuaries to feed. I'm mainly going to fish all those spots on an outgoing tide. Just to keep that cooler water from coming in. I just think the water is cold still, and those fish are looking for some ideal feeding temperatures to feed into. So that's good for bass. To tug, I haven't heard any reports up in the rivers yet, or in the Connecticut Light, or off Nayet Point, which are all good early season spots in the East Bay. Typically, it's another 2 weeks that I see in my logs that I've caught the tug behind the American Tourister. And perfect time for that would be the incoming tide, probably 2 hours before high and about an hour after, but usually turns off there because of how shallow the water is. And you can basically, when it's low, see the bottom there. But I'm going to try all those spots this weekend just to see if I can get a tug bite. You never know. Might be there early. Might be some small guys in there. The freshwater scene, still good. The ponds here in Swansea and Somerset, still boasting some panfish, some trout, even some bass. That bite is starting to come back. I still haven't got back on the crappie bite yet. After that opening day storm, that whole weekend was shy. It got cold, and I felt like we had to start all over again with the freshwater scene, and I haven't seen any crappie since then. And I'm sure that they've moved into the deep, or they're up shallow on beds, maybe spawning. Who knows? But that bite has been non-existing. But got to keep trying. You got to get out there. That's the only way we're going to find out if we're catching fish. So that's what we got going on in the East Bay, and we'll catch you guys next week. Tight lines, guys.
So there's sort of dueling worlds right now with striped bass in Rhode Island. We've got fish moving along the beaches right now. I've heard of fish coming off the South County beaches. I've heard of some fish at the West Wall. I've heard of some fish being caught from boats up inside Narragansett Bay, and I've heard of fish caught in the corners of the beaches on Aquidneck Island. These fish have been sporting sea lice. I think the legend says that those must be fresh fish. At the same time, a lot of the holdover fish that have been up inside some of these rivers and ponds seem to be exiting, and that's what I've seen in my own fishing. Water temperatures came up very quickly over the last 5 days. When I was there in the middle of last week, we saw temperatures 49, 50 degrees. And then I went back on Tuesday of this week after dark, and the water temperatures were almost at 60. And what I saw was a lot fewer fish around, even in places where there was bait. The one good thing I will say is that most of the fish that I saw were the larger size fish. So I think they're kind of holding out for those herring that are moving into some of these places. But the biomass of fish seems to have moved downriver, down through the estuaries, or out altogether. And it's possible that those fish that are moving out are some of the fish that these guys are catching along the beaches and up inside the bay. So a lot of movement on striped bass right now, which is a good thing. And from here on out, it's just going to get better and better. So if you're a striper guy, you're living in Rhode Island, you should be psyched. Togging has been decent. It hasn't been great. This time of year is totally different than the fall. You just don't get that same you know, sort of voracious bite that you get in the fall, because these fish are inshore to spawn now. So their main priority is to spawn, not to feed. These fish are up shallow, but you can still put a few nice fish on the boat. I know Coral and her dad had some nice fish, and I've seen a few other people posting some decent sized togs. So the bite is, you know, it's there. It's just not firing, you know, hard. On the freshwater end of things, the trout fishing in Rhode Island continues to really produce some really nice fish. The state put in some corkers this year, some really nice fish. We've seen fish up to 7 pounds coming out of Rhode Island waters, which is exceptional. I mean, it's just great. And it's not like it's only been one good fish. There's been lots of good ones caught, which we love to see. And while we're in the middle of the state, let's check in with a couple of our field correspondents, starting with Jeff Sullivan. Here he is.
What's up, Dave? What's going on, guys? Back at you this week with some pre-spawn yellow perch fishing. Yeah, these fish are sweet, man. Getting them in the shallows, they're nice and vibrant, as you can see, the orange fins on them, nice colors on them. Yeah, just been doing that, been largemouth fishing, Dave, and you know, I did a little striper fishing in the back bays, found some life, did that. You know, the trout fishing's been as good as it gets as far as Rhode Island goes. Tog I'll probably do next week, but right now it's been largemouth, perch, chain pickerel, stuff like that, and some crappie, and a smallmouth bite. If you smallmouth fishermen out there, smallmouth has been very good. So yeah, I just been deeking and dunking and sticking moving and going around and trying to find this bite, that bite, here, there, everywhere. So, you know, this time of year I'm kind of everywhere. So all right, I'm gonna get back to perch fishing later.
Are you the best angler in the Northeast? Well, now is your chance to prove it. The Fisherman's Dream Boat Contest is back. Win this Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha, along with these other great prizes. Fish hard and weigh in as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. What's the catch? You must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine. All it takes is one fish on the board to win a great prize. So however you fish, you have a shot. For all the details and official rules, visit thefisherman.com.
Heading down into the Point Judith area, I saw that some of the head boats have been out this week. Looks like the cod bite is starting to come together finally. It's not gangbusters, but it's getting better. We're seeing more consistent catches. They're getting some cunners, and within the next week or so, it sounds like they're going to start putting tog on the menu as well. So bottom fishing is looking pretty good. Guys are, these guys are fishing around Block Island. They're finding several species, and they're going to add a new one soon. And then the South County beaches, for the most part, what I've been hearing is just small striped bass here and there. But there have been some tog out around the Watch Hill area and out around Napa Tree and places like that. And that's what I have for you guys in Rhode Island this week. Crossing over into Connecticut, I think the main thing to talk about right now is what happens every year, and that is that we've had sort of a up and down tog season from the start of it on April 1st, and now as we're coming into the last week, things are coming up. We're starting to see more fish being caught. We're starting to see a more widespread bite. So I'm seeing fish coming out of Niantic Bay. I've seen fish coming out of the area around the Thames River, seen some fish around the Connecticut River, and then of course out further west, the Stratford Walls have been good. The New Haven Walls are always like the main hot spot where everybody goes in the springtime. And then you've got some of those shallow wrecks out in the Western Sound, which are also putting out some fish. The season closes on April 30th, so right when it starts to get really good, it's going to shut down, just like it does every year. But if you're a Connecticut guy and you want to get a few tog on the table here, you're going to have to make it happen now. Luckily, we've got some decent weather in the forecast, and looks like you might be able to pull it off. So get out there and take some pics and see how many you can put in the cooler, I guess. The other thing is striped bass moving across pretty much the entire state at this point. I think a lot of these fish, just like we were talking about in Rhode Island, are fish that have left the estuaries. They were holding over for the winter, and they're now moving along the beaches. So I've heard of some fish outside the Thames River. I heard of some fish up inside the Niantic Bay area. Central Sound guys are mostly concentrating on the Connecticut River. We're seeing lots of fish up in there. That worm bite's starting to happen now. Some guys are going up into the herring runs and throwing red fins and magic swimmers and Danny plugs and big soft plastics, and they're getting some decent fish in those areas. And the Connecticut River, as we know, has a lot more species to offer. And to talk a little bit about that, let's check in now with Rowan Lytle.
Hey y'all, so it seems spring was short-lived and now we're just in summer. The Connecticut River is falling pretty nicely, shad are running at a steady pace, and it looks like we've got a better herring run as far as the number of herring. Not a ton of bass yet. The carp are actually spawning already. In one of the coves that I had a client in today, they were splashing around on the edges, so in certain places, if you're out to target carp, you might have poorer fishing because they're actively spawning. And a lot of those backwaters are warming up really rapidly, so I expect the panfish spawns and the perch should already be well done by now. But the crappie should be in the thick of it, and it might not last very long. Bluegill should start relatively soon as well. Pike fishing's definitely slow at the moment. They're kind of post-spawn, but not really putting the feed bag on yet. But a lot of things kicking off pretty well as we get some very warm weather and lower flows.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Now we'll head down the river and check in with Captain Mike Roy from Real Cast Charters.
Hey everybody, for this week's fishing report, the striped bass fishing has really improved with these warmer temperatures. It has the water temp into the low 50-degree range, which really has them active. A couple mornings at sunrise, we saw stripers chasing herring. We've had really good success fishing the 7-inch sluggo and 7-inch finesse fish rigged unweighted on a swim bait hook. So that's like just subsurface. So those fish are coming up, they're getting more active and hitting those soft plastics really good now. I expect this to continue through the next week. This weekend on Saturday, I will be at the Connecticut Boat Show at Essex Island. It's a really nice venue. There's a restaurant and bar there, and I'll be doing a seminar at 12:30 p.m. on tips and tricks for fishing Long Island Sound. After I speak, Matt Stone is going to be speaking at 2:15 on striped bass fishing. Also, I'm going to take the boat. I'm going to have the Conch 27, so if you want to check it out, it is a good show to spend a few hours on Saturday at. As far as upcoming fishing goes, you still have a little bit more time left of black fishing. That's actually been pretty good and should continue to improve. That's open till April 30th. And we're booking trips anytime mid-May through late June. I just posted a bunch of openings. That's going to be our prime time to get those bigger migratory striped bass. So if you're looking to book a trip, get on the website or contact me and do so while we still have those openings.
In the famed waters of Panama awaits a fishing experience like no other. Tropic Star Lodge welcomes anglers to get in on world-famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
Now we'll cross the river and we'll check in with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
What's up everyone, Matt here from Black Hall Outfitters with this week's fishing report. I think it's safe to say spring has sprung. I'm fired up, seeing everything kind of come to life in the water, all the flowers blooming. It definitely feels like things are happening. Spring blackfish bite has been really good. I got out yesterday and it was a really, really great session. I've heard similar reports from friends. Both Western and Eastern Sound at this point, we're at the point where the water temps have creeped high enough to make it great. And I think it's safe to say you can use crabs right now. I know a lot of guys like to stick with the sandworms like early tog, but I was using whole green crabs yesterday and they were getting spanked. So we love to see it. Really fun way to start the year. I also ran into a really big school of bass yesterday in open water, which was really cool. Definitely shows they're on the move. They were not big fish, but they were not, up in holdover creek and river type of areas. So things are happening. It's pretty great. It's exciting to see. Definitely still a lot of the same bass stuff for a while. The fish I saw yesterday were feeding on the surface, which was neat. So maybe it's time to start chucking some smaller topwaters, things like that. I'm still throwing a lot of soft plastics, paddle tails, flukes, things like that. Freshwater, the bite's been really good. We're still pre-spawn with our largemouth and smallmouth. So You're going to be using like hair jigs, jerk baits, spinner baits, crank baits, things like that, chatter baits for the time being. Trout bite's still really good. I've got folks coming in every day for trout stuff. Berkeley trout worms, power bait, inline spinners, Rapalas, all the same stuff you're going to use. So I think the weather has turned, the fish have turned on, and it's fishing season. Get out there and enjoy it.
And then heading west from there, striped bass activity seems to get a little bit better with every mile you put, every mile you travel west, I guess I should say. And most of the reports that I'm hearing everywhere seem to talk about mostly smaller fish, but that has not been the evidence that I have seen, at least not exclusively. I've seen some bigger fish being caught by surf fishermen after dark, fishing some of the sound beaches in the western half of the sound. These are not giants. These are not, fish that are going to be remembered forever, but, fish in the low 30-inch class are being caught from the surf. Guys are doing it with things like SP minnows and hydro minnows and mag darters, doing it with things like, the 5-inch NLBN paddle tail, zinger baits, stuff like that. So, keep your eyes on the sound, especially if you're a surf guy. Fish after dark, fish around the mouths of any of these rivers that hold overpopulations, and you're going to find some fish, and you have the opportunity or the possibility of finding some bigger fish. And we already talked about the tog being good or probably the best tog being in the West Haven, New Haven area. And for the rest of the things happening in the western part of the sound, let's check in now with Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. This past week, we've seen fish to about 40 inches down west on the troll. Guys are trolling umbrellas, mojos, bunker spoons. I would say Hempstead, Rye, Mamaroneck, Execution, and all the way to the Throgs Neck. And then in those back bays, too, you can find some nicer fish starting to flood in. There are been some bunker schools down there too, so it is starting, which is exciting. The season's kicking off in the sound. Locally on our beaches and our harbor, there's been some schoolies to slot-sized fish. We've seen some nicer fish, mostly come out of the Housatonic River this time of year. If you are hitting the Housatonic, I would definitely concentrate on the upper river parts with the bigger fish keying in on the herring. And then downriver, a lot of the fish are flooding. There has been some slot and some overslot mixed in with all those schoolies. Soft plastics, SP minnows, and then early sunrise morning, there has been fish on top. Locally in our waters, in our back bays, like Wilson's Cove, Ziegler's Cove, Norwalk Harbor, I have seen some first light activity on the way to open the shop, so that's really cool to see. Most anglers are catching them on sandworms and bloodworms, and then, soft plastic, SPs, these all work really great this time of year. Things are really starting to heat up. The weather looks really nice on the outlook, and it should help get these water temps towards 50, and once it reaches, 50, 55, the bass bite blows wide open. Flounder has been a little slow reports. We're just starting to see more and more reports on them with people starting to get their boats in. We should see, maybe a couple more taken in the upcoming week while people, everybody gets their boat in for May 1st. Corn, clam chum, clams, sandworms all work good. Other than that, the freshwater river's still been fishing really well. The Saugatuck Reservoir has been a little on the slower side. We've seen some walleye, we've seen some smallmouth. Not a lot of big trout. The waters are still really cold over there. Usually it really starts getting really good about mid-May. So we look forward to seeing that get better. Thanks and good luck.
And that's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there and do some fishing, take some pictures, send them in, and try to win something cool. Don't forget that the April edition is on newsstands now or showing up in your mailbox any second now. Great edition. A lot of stuff you're going to want to read, including a full slate of reports. If you're not a subscriber to the Fisherman and it's not showing up in your mailbox, you can go to the tackle shop and grab it, or you can go to your local newsstand and grab it, or you can head over to the website and you can check out what we offer. We cover all the fishing from Delaware to Maine. We cover travel pieces that head to Costa Rica, that head to the West Coast, that head to upstate New York for steelhead fishing. We cover it all. We do offshore fishing, we do surf fishing, kayak, paddleboard, freshwater, fly, everything, you name it. And it all comes to you for one low price. We're talking about $31.95 for the year. You're going to get 12 paper editions, the magazines. You're going to get 26 digital magazines sent to your email during the season. Those come April to mid-November. You're also going to get digital access to all of our back issues and our other 2 editions. So if you sign up for the New England edition, which is the one that I run, you're also going to get digital access to the Long Island Metro edition and the New Jersey edition. So you're going to get 3 magazines for the price of 1. You're going to be able to keep up on the reports covering the entire Northeast coast. basically from the tip of Delaware all the way up to the middle of Maine. And I mean, it's the best $32 you can spend in fishing. There's no doubt about it. But if you're not interested after you check out the website, which would be hard to believe, at the very least, give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube and hit that little bell thing right there so you get a notification every time we post something new. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.